Sigmund Freud once said, "Everything in the world is about sex, except sex. Sex is about power." Most people read these words and think of love, desire, or physical romance. But they are completely blind to the terrifying psychological trap hidden beneath his words. Freud wasn't talking about intimacy. He was exposing the darkest, most addictive drug known to the human ego, the absolute, suffocating desire for control. We are a species obsessed with ruling over our reality, desperate to play the role of God in our own mini-universes. We spend our entire lives trying to master our surroundings, our reputations, and our destinies. We build invisible walls of certainty, convince ourselves that we are safe. We tell ourselves that as long as we hold the strings, the world cannot hurt us. But psychology and history share a brutal, unchanging law. The moment you believe you control everything is the exact moment you control absolutely nothing. Your control is not a shield, it is a blindfold that prevents you from seeing the blade moving toward your throat. To understand the terrifying weight of this delusion, we must step away from the modern world. We must enter the cold marble shadows of a rainy morning in ancient Rome. The Ides of March, 44 BC. Julius Caesar. He is the absolute master of the known world, the dictator perpetuo. Empires have fallen at his feet. Legions have bled to etch his name into eternity, and the entire Roman Senate trembles beneath his gaze. He has survived 1,000 battles, outsmarted 1,000 enemies. If Freud were standing in the shadows of Rome that morning, he would see Caesar as the ultimate manifestation of his theory. Caesar didn't chase crowns for the gold. He chased them because he was a slave to that supreme drug. He needed to prove that his will was the only law. Years before, when he crossed the Rubicon River with his army, he famously declared, "The die is cast." It was the ultimate gamble for power. He won that gamble, and with every victory, Freud's dark truth became clearer. The power he obtained began to possess him. On this dark morning, the universe is screaming warnings at him. His wife, Calpurnia, wept in her sleep, dreaming of his blood-stained body. The seers warned him to beware the middle of March. Even the air feels like a trap. As Caesar walks toward the Senate, a frantic man presses a small, tightly rolled piece of parchment into his hand. This paper contains everything: the names of his assassins, the exact location of the blades, the complete plot of his death. But Caesar doesn't even look at it. He rolls it carelessly between his fingers. Here lies the exact Freudian blindness. When your ego is entirely consumed by the illusion of absolute power, you become pathologically incapable of believing that you can be harmed. He steps into the theater of Pompeii, the marble floors cold and unforgiving beneath his leather sandals.
The massive chamber is dimly lit, long shadows stretching across the cold stone statues of past rulers who once thought they too would live forever.
Around him, 60 senators gather. They are smiling, bowing, murmuring words of deep admiration. They wrap their hands tightly within their heavy, dark woolen robes. Caesar walks past them like a shepherd among sheep, completely unaware that the sheep have grown fangs. Caesar takes his seat upon the golden throne, looking down at the men before him. In his mind, he is perfectly secure. He has designed this empire. He rules these minds. He controls this room. This is the peak of what Freud meant by the ultimate desire for supremacy.
Then, a senator named Simba steps forward under the pretext of presenting a simple petition. He reaches out and grabs Caesar's heavy purple toga, pulling it down violently from his neck. It is the signal. The mask of political theater drops instantly.
From beneath the dark, warm robes of the senators, the cold gleam of steel appears. Dozens of daggers are raised into the dim light. In a single fraction of a second, the grand illusion of control shatters into 1,000,000 unfixable pieces. The first blade, driven by Casca, slices through Caesar's neck. The dictator gasps, his eyes widening in pure shock as the warm, metallic smell of his own blood instantly fills the freezing, silent room. The god is bleeding. He fights back like a cornered wild animal. But every stab from the senators is a brutal confirmation of Freud's dark law. These men weren't killing Caesar to save the Republic. They were killing him to steal his drug. They wanted the power he possessed.
But then, the frantic crowd of attackers parts. Through the chaos, Caesar's eyes lock onto one specific face, standing in the inner circle with a raised, trembling dagger. Marcus Junius Brutus.
This was the young man Caesar had loved like a son. If Caesar had listened to the psychological truth instead of his own hubris, he would have known that the closest to your power are always the closest to your throat. In that second, he looks into Brutus's eyes and whispers his final haunting words. Et tu, Brute? You too, my child? If the one person he trusted wanted him dead, then the empire of his life had already crumbled. The illusion was fully dead. Caesar stops fighting. He ceases his struggle against the blades. With his remaining strength, he pulls his heavy purple toga over his face. He refuses to let the world see the naked vulnerability of a fallen man who realized too late that he controlled nothing. 23 times the steel tears through his flesh. The master of Rome collapses at the base of the grand statue of Pompey, his former rival. He bleeds out into the cold, porous white marble, the red liquid staining the grand geometry of the floor. The Senate empties in terror.
The echoes of running footsteps and panicked screams slowly fade into the distance, leaving only a lifeless body in a massive, silent, echoing room. The illusion of the great dictator is gone.
Now, let us turn the camera away from the ancient marble of Rome. Let us leave the blood of Caesar in the past, and let us look directly into the quiet, dimly lit room you are sitting in right now. Because you are doing the exact same thing Caesar did.
You are obsessively trying to control every single variable of your existence, your career, your reputation, and your fragile, uncertain future. You are desperate for power over your life, just as Freud described.
Remember Freud's truth. Everything is about power. Your need to micromanage your relationships, your fear of unexpected outcomes, your desire to be untouchable. It is not a search for peace. It is the primitive, desperate hunger to dominate your environment. You build an empire of heavy expectations in your mind, convinced that if you just hold the reins tightly enough, nothing can hurt you. But feel the weight in your chest right now. That isn't safety you are feeling. That is the crippling anxiety of a dictator afraid of losing his throne. If Caesar had understood Freud's warning, he would have known that the more you try to control external things, the more power those external things have over you. By trying to master the world outside, you become the ultimate prisoner of everything you seek to govern. You are so focused on commanding your external empire, so busy protecting your status, that you are completely blind to the silent rebellion happening within your own internal circle. Your arrogance makes you ignore the true dangers. Who are the people you trust blindly in your life, simply because they bow to your ego? Like Caesar, you mistake submission for loyalty. You surround yourself with smiles, completely blind to the fact that power always attracts parasites. The greatest devastations in your life never come from your open enemies. They come from the people you let close enough to find the exact unprotected space between your ribs. The ones who carry their daggers behind a smile, waiting for you to drop your guard. To break Freud's curse, you must stop treating your life as a battlefield for control. You cannot control the Senate of your daily life. You cannot control the hearts of other men. The only empire truly worth ruling is the empire of your own mind. When you let go of the desperate need to control everything, you strip your hidden enemies of their power over you. You stop being the victim of unexpected betrayals, because you no longer expect the world to bow to your desire for certainty. Look at the unread letters in your own life, the warning signs in your relationships, the quiet whispers of your intuition that you ignore because you think you have everything figured out. Like Caesar,
Your illusion of control is making you numb. We walk on a thin carpet of illusions, pretending that the ground beneath us is solid stone. But under the marble of every human life lies the unpredictable, chaotic abyss of reality. Caesar fell in 23 seconds. Your world can change in even less.
Power over the external world is not a possession. It is a loan, and the universe always collects its debts. When you tie your sanity to Freud's trap of manipulation, you are setting a date with your own psychological executioner. The next time you find yourself suffocating under the pressure of trying to manage the unmanageable, remember the blood on the cold floor of the Roman Senate. Remember the man who thought his power made him immortal, forgetting Freud's dark warning. Are you truly the master of your destiny? Or are you just blindly walking through the crowds, completely unaware of the daggers hidden within the heavy robes around you? Are you truly in control? Or are you just waiting for your own Ides of March?